one's always knocked 3 times.
I think it's just a superstition.
Hey, guys.
Oh, whoa. We gotta get up now, guys.
War has broken out below. And we were told to take the ISS by any means necessary.
The Russians got the same orders as us. And they just struck first.
Struck first.
Hey guys, what's happening? Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. And as requested, today we're diving into the recently released sci-fi thriller I.S.S. Starring Ariana DeBose, Chris Messina, John Gallagher Jr., Masha Mashkova, Costa Ronin, and Pilou Asbæk, we follow astronauts and cosmonauts from America and Russia that find their fates intertwined and tested. As World War III erupts on Earth, the tension escalates aboard the space station, transforming it into a microcosm of the planet below. The sci-fi thriller, celebrated for iconic films like Alien, Gravity, and The Martian, which combine the mystery of the cosmos with human drama, set against a backdrop of impressive special effects and intelligent scripts, tends to thrive in the portrayal of space as an uncontrollable constant, a vast expanse where conflict and mission-driven narratives intertwine. And I.S.S., the first sci-fi release of 2024, enters the genre, offering a new perspective by asking, what if the central conflict is entirely beyond the control of our main characters? Set aboard the International Space Station, it unfolds against a background of heightened tension between Russia and the United States, reminiscent of Cold War-era animosity. The film introduces us to Kira, played by Ariana DeBose, who serves as the audience surrogate. Through her eyes, we witness the denial of worsening geopolitical conflict and her fervent hope for rationality to prevail. To me, it echoes the gripping suspense of Tony Scott's Crimson Tide, where characters must navigate incomplete intelligence about a nuclear war, relying on intuition in the absence of clear information. The audience is led through a harrowing journey, witnessing the unraveling of diplomacy and the strain on the fragile alliance aboard the International Space Station, with Gabriella Cowperthwaite cleverly using the premise to reveal the thin veneer of civility that separates order from chaos. The ISS, a crowning achievement born from the ashes of the space race, symbolized the rare moment of unity between the US and USSR, a testament to what humanity can achieve when it transcends petty rivalries for the greater good. It is this spirit of collaboration and shared purpose that is put to the ultimate test as the characters aboard the ISS navigate their personal and collective crises. As the plot develops, it delves into the complexities of loyalty and decision-making in extreme circumstances. The middle of the film pushes Kira and her American colleagues into a web of suspicion and strategic maneuvering, challenging them to discern the nature of the actions of their Russian counterparts and whether they're deliberate sabotage or misunderstandings. Despite the strong performances from a cast of seasoned actors, the script often falters, leading to convoluted twists that don't always align with coherent narrative progression. The Earth below is depicted as a fiery inferno, a stark contrast to the cold, calculated struggles aboard the space station. The portrayal of characters clinging to the notion of strategic dominance, even as their home planet is engulfed in flames, offers a commentary on priorities and the often paradoxical nature of geopolitical strategy. Unfortunately, it ultimately succumbs to a series of missteps in its execution and seems to unravel, leaving viewers pondering the decisions and rationality of the characters, especially towards the end, where the film's fundamental problems are located. The need for an ending, it seems, outweighed the logical progression of the story, resulting in a resolution that feels forced and incongruent with the character development and narrative arcs. Despite its shortcomings, I.S.S. begins on a solid note, especially as a small-budget sci-fi. The constraints of the budget are evident, but these are shortcomings that could easily be forgiven if the storyline had greater depth or if the characters were granted more compelling and engaging arcs. I have to admit, the film's most notable achievement is its setting. The depiction of the space station is convincingly crafted, creating an atmosphere that amplifies the tension and drama among the characters, that transports viewers into the claustrophobic and high-stakes environment of space. The curiosity to see how the story concludes is a major driving force, compelling us to stay. However, the story loses momentum, ultimately culminating in an ending that feels unsatisfactory and leaves too many unanswered questions.
We don't talk politics. Here we're one.
Mutually. We're evolved species.
The film commences with a portrayal of international cooperation and the nuances of human relationships set against the grand backdrop of space. NASA astronauts Kira Foster and Christian Campbell arrive at the International Space Station, joining a diverse crew comprised of their American compatriot Gordon Barrett and the Russian team of Veronika Vetrov and the Pilou brothers, Nikolai and Alexei. Despite the challenges posed by language barriers and cultural differences, the film depicts a harmonious coexistence among the crew members. It also hints at a budding romance between Gordon and Veronika, adding a layer of complexity to the interpersonal dynamics aboard the station. The story subtly introduces an undercurrent of tension through the experiences of the lab mice Kira brought on board to study in weightlessness. With Alexei's ominous observation, they're afraid with nothing to hold on to, and that typically doesn't end well. The remark, loaded with foreshadowing, sets a contemplative tone for the unfolding events. A cautionary warning from Commanding Officer Gordon Barrett to Kira also highlights the crucial yet delicate nature of their current existence. He tells her that the low hum she's hearing is their life support system, and when she doesn't hear that hum, that's when they're all going to begin to panic, a reminder of their fragile life on the space station. The film captures the core of workplace dynamics, amplified within the confined space of the International Space Station. We're treated to a number of interactions, ranging from superficial pleasantries and dry humor to genuine encouragement and mutual support. The dynamics here are crucial, as each member's survival hinges on the collective performance and well-being of the team. It's important to note that as Kira navigates her new surroundings, she forges a notable connection with Veronika, although her interactions with Alexei and his brother are marked by a more professional distance. Despite individual differences, the crew unites, fostering an atmosphere of support and collaboration. We reach a poignant moment when the team collectively gaze upon Earth, with the big blue marble representing a serene symbol of unity and peace that transcends the artificial divisions of national borders. As the crew settle into the rhythm of their extended tenure in space, a jarring sight shatters the peace. Kira, peering through the window, witnesses the first of a series of devastating explosions ravaging the Earth, and the crew, positioned helplessly in orbit, is confronted with the harrowing reality of a nuclear war between the US and Russia, tearing their world apart. The communication with Earth is sporadic and fraught with difficulty, but a chilling directive manages to pierce through the static. Gordon receives unequivocal orders, seize control of the ISS by any means necessary, and the revelation plants a seed of mistrust and fear among the crew, as they grapple with the likelihood that their Russian counterparts have received similar instructions. While Christian is poised for immediate action, Kira and Gordon advocate for a focus on the remaining scientific duties, speaking to their commitment to the original mission despite the burgeoning crisis. They also face a tangible and immediate threat with their decaying orbit, setting them on a perilous trajectory towards the atmosphere. The urgency of their situation is exacerbated by a rapidly closing 24-hour window for external intervention to prevent their freefall towards the planet's surface. Illustrating how the congenial bonds formed in isolation can quickly fray under the weight of existential threats, the movie excels in its portrayal of the psychological landscape of its characters. The tension in the film derives less from the technical malfunctions of the station and more from the unraveling of interpersonal trust and unity. In a pivotal moment, Gordon, acting in good faith, ventures outside the station in an EVA suit to repair a supposedly malfunctioning antenna and sees America in flames. But while he's in the middle of discussing Kira's breakup with her fiancé to keep himself calm, Alexei severs their communication line and conceals his actions with a counterfeit wire, effectively isolating Gordon from his fellow crew members. Horrifically, Nikolai goes one step further, using the station's robotic arm to dislodge Gordon, an act that symbolizes the shattering of their fragile alliance. As the plot unfolds, the gravity of the situation intensifies, pulling the crew into a vortex of desperation, strategic alliances, and moral dilemmas. It's here that Kira soon finds herself at the center of a precarious coalition. Veronika, driven by rage over Nikolai's heinous act and seeking retribution, implores Kira to trade keys and unlock the crucial research the Russians have been guarding. Initially lying about not having the key, though hesitant, Kira tells her the Americans had also received orders to seize control of the ISS. While we learn that Kira was working on organ transplantation research, Veronika explains that Alexei had cracked the code on finding a cure for radiation sickness, a potential to alter the post-nuclear war landscape on Earth. However, the looming threat that the dominant power controlling the ISS could dictate the fate of humanity forces Veronika to devise a daring plan. Urging Kira to steal the research, board the Soyuz spacecraft and return to Earth, Veronika's theatrics to create a diversion by threatening to blow the station up spirals out of control. Not only does Christian tell Kira that she was lying to her about the cure, but as the Russian brothers try to calm her down, unaware of Veronika's covert pact with Kira, he reacts with lethal force, killing her with a blow to the head. Unsurprisingly, the crew's dynamics fracture even further because of this. Nikolai, consumed by grief and vengeance, seeks to complete their mission by killing the Americans, while Alexei grapples with his own conscience and the overwhelming situation. Sensing the impending threat, Kira and Christian find refuge in a storage room, their survival hanging by a thread as Nikolai, armed with a screwdriver and unhinged, embarks on a relentless hunt. In a moment of hope and clarity, Alexei discovers Gordon holding onto the station outside. Demonstrating a profound act of humanity, he intervenes, saving him by using the arm, before hiding Kira from his brother, a gesture that transcends the animosity that has enveloped the crew. Finding out that Veronica is dead, but unaware that it was actually Christian that did it, knowing that it was likely Nikolai that tried to kill him, he locks them both in a chamber and attempts to end him armed with a drill. As the pair tussle, Christian, Kira and Alexei urgently try to open the door to the chamber to stop them. Unfortunately, before they can, Nikolai gains control of the drill and stabs Gordon in a vital organ, the same time that Gordon takes his screwdriver and stabs his counterpart in the neck. In the aftermath of the brutal confrontation, Kira uncovers a startling truth. Veronica's information had been accurate all along, and Christian had been lying to her. This leads her to Christian's chamber, where she's met with another shocking revelation. Driven by desperation and self-preservation, he had taken the radiation cure and was secretly orchestrating his escape after compromising the life support system. The strain escalates as Kira, in a tense encounter in the kitchen, silently communicates with Alexei, signaling the imminent danger posed by the disabled life support. Christian, now crazed with desperation, tells Alexei to leave in Russian, saying that he needed to have a private moment with Kira. But when he starts to go, remembering Veronica's words from earlier, she tells Alexei they need to stick together. The confrontation reaches a fever pitch when Christian lunges at Kira with a knife, only for Alexei to intervene and get stabbed in the hand. In a desperate bid to stop him, Alexei holds him down as Kira strangles him to death with a tassel of a pen that was gifted to her. The pair restore life support and the communication system spontaneously reactivates, with both the Russian and American bases requesting an update on who had control over the station. They're also told that help is coming to halt the space station from burning up in the atmosphere. But refusing to comply with the respective orders of their governments, Alexei and Kira board the spacecraft with Alexei's research. Radio chatter from Houston and Moscow floods their headphones, demanding to know who was coming down, but Alexei turns off the radio before allowing the Soyuz to plummet to Earth in an uncontrolled freefall. When asked where they were going, Kira simply tells him she has no idea.
Kira, I want you to do me a favor, okay?
Okay.
I want you to keep everyone away from the windows.
Directed by Gabriella Cowperthwaite, known for her work on documentaries like Blackfish, and with a script penned by Nick Shafir, the premise of I.S.S. effectively sets the stage for an intense psychological drama. The characters, isolated from the world, yet bound by shared experience in their cosmic confines, grapple with a profound moral conundrum. Where does their loyalty lie? With their country or fellow scientists and humanity at large? Each embodying a distinct perspective on the human condition, the crew paint a vivid picture of the multifaceted nature of conflict, sacrifice, and redemption. Nikolai and Christian personify the tragic consequences of blind allegiance and desperation, while Gordon stands as a testament to the pain of personal loss and the ensuing quest for retribution. Veronica's character echoes the universal yearning for peace and the preservation of our fragile world, and Alexei, in his moment of defiance, represents the potential for renewal and the rejection of ingrained dogma. And when it comes to Kira, the beacon of hope and resistance, she champions a vision of unity and the rejection of violence as a solution unless absolutely necessary.
I love a space adventure, especially from inside a space station. Kira's function is to take in each person and let the audience make their decisions around it.
Ariana DeBose takes on the lead role with a commendable performance, surrounded by a cast that earnestly deliver despite the limitations in the script they have to work with. DeBose portrays a biologist conducting organ research on mice in zero gravity, a premise ripe with potential that, unfortunately, remains largely unexplored. On a similar note, Pilou Asbæk's Alexei is introduced as someone working on a treatment for radiation sickness, yet this intriguing aspect, which ends up being the linchpin, is not delved into with any complexity. We don't learn how he created the cure, it's just a MacGuffin to push the story forward. The characters are in a predicament where, despite being distant from the conflict on Earth, have responsibilities as scientists that bind them to the greater good of humanity, transcending national borders, until it doesn't. I felt that the film presents an intriguing story, offering a unique perspective on global catastrophe. It distinguishes itself by portraying the calamity from a distant vantage point, situating the audience alongside the characters aboard the International Space Station. The approach heightens the suspense and mystery, as, much like the characters, we're left in the dark about the specifics of the war, its origins, its progression, and the survivors that were left behind. However, it would have been really nice to find out more information by the conclusion. Given it was a low-budget sci-fi thriller, one of my favorite genres, I tend to be more forgiving, and did find many parts of the film captivating. Yet it left me yearning for more, with a lingering feeling that it could have had more meat on the bone. I think it would have really benefited from a more extended exposition, allowing for a richer exploration of the character dynamics during peacetime, which would have then increased the tragedy to see those bonds disintegrate. While the beginning is a deliberate slow burn, the middle act where they find out their new orders felt a bit lacking. I didn't really feel the paranoia and suspense that would befit their crisis. This is because much of this time is spent with the crew giving each other odd looks and whispering to each other instead of being fearful for their lives. To be fair, I think a more robust sound design and musical score could have done some of the heavy lifting, but the staging and progression of events just felt off. But once we reached the final act, the cat and mouse game between the crew members really started to pick things up. The movie does a decent job of showing the complex dynamics of loyalty and survival under extreme conditions, but lacks a sense of urgency until the end, with the tension of the kitchen scene containing the suspense I was hoping would be sustained throughout the entire film. With that said, the director did a pretty decent job in heightening the confined, claustrophobic environment and examining how alliances are put to the test under extreme circumstances, supported by the stellar cast and solid performances. While I have to admit, it wasn't always believable that they were floating in space, the production designers and VFX team do a pretty good job of creating a lived-in station, and on a technical level, it's a testament to what can be achieved with a modest budget of $13 million, which is why I'm a bit more lenient here. Having said that, the exterior shots including a spacewalk are executed really well, with the visual depiction of Earth transitioning from serene blue to a tumultuous orange, leaving a haunting impression. And although I was disappointed that ISS doesn't really delve into the details or philosophical aspects of nuclear war, or maintain the paranoia and sustained suspense hinted at in the trailer, ISS presents an engaging dichotomy. Some characters promptly act upon their new Stark orders, while others exhibit reluctance and a desire for additional information. This raises compelling questions about the role of scientists in crisis. Is their duty solely to science, or does it extend to the battlefield as soldiers? While these themes are intriguing and provoke thought, the film stops short of exploring them to their fullest potential. Instead, it veers into the more familiar territory of a standard space thriller, characterized by the gradual elimination of crew members until the ambiguous conclusion. And the vague ending felt like a cop-out, with the filmmakers not wanting to commit to either tragedy or joy. Alexei and Kira sort of just float somewhere in the middle, which is where the film ultimately sits when compared to the sci-fi greats that came before it.
It's different from a lot of space movies.
I like feeling like it's here and now, and that this is actually something that could be happening up there.
I always like movies that take heightened and extreme ideas and then try to find a way to make them feel relatable.
It's a story about survival. It's a story about human instincts. It's a story about mankind.
With that said, that's all for today, folks. A huge thanks to everyone that requested we explore ISS. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if there's anything else you'd like for me to cover, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
What do you suggest we do now?
The Russians got the same orders as us.
And they just struck first.
Struck